Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great Lit After Lunch event. It's our special one, it's our last one at the Green Room, but hopefully these will keep going in another form. So, my name is Jen Vernon, and I'm here to participate and kind of sub with Rena, who's out sick, unfortunately, and Allison is here in the back also helping out. Um, I want to just say a couple of words to get us going to start with a land acknowledgement. So we acknowledge that the Green Room Social Club and Placerville are located on the traditional homelands of the Miwok, Maidu, and Nisenan peoples who have lived here for thousands of years and still live here today, and so do their descendants. We also want to give a brief trigger warning uh, because some of the content shared today may hit deeply and in ways we can't precisely anticipate. Still, many of us want to be truthful and communicate through our art in ways we can't with plain talk. So we thank the audience for coming out and being here today. We thank them for bearing witness to the easy and the bright, to the hard and the fight. We hope to dislodge slivers that need it and give voice to silenced experience. We also want to have fun and be weird, like only grammatically unschooled lets us do. If you need to take space for yourself, please do. Know that the door to step out and get Placerville air is there. Know that the bathrooms are straight back. Know that there are beverages with or without alcohol over there. And that the beverages, the sodas, drinks like that are free for people who are here today for the event. And what else? There is a donation jar right here on this table. That would be especially great to contribute to for our featured performers who have traveled a long way coming from the Bay Area. And we have a list of many extraordinary people to present today. And the first person presenting is, I have a short bio to read about them. H.J. Sandiego is a nomadic chronicler, originally from Placerville. The hearth that kindles his tales is John 1:14. The word took on dust and sinew, walked among us, and made his dwelling in the wild. Come on up, Sandiego.
All right, so I was originally going to tell a story about how I came to have my first Manhattan with some monks in St. Augustine, Florida. But I only have time for part one, so I'll just share part one. Confessions of a Bootleg Dharma Bum. Part one, School with a Burning Cigarette. Arise, arise, he cried so loud in a voice without restraint. Come out, you gifted kings and queens, and hear my sad complaint. No martyr is among ye now, whom you can call your own. So go on your way accordingly, but know you're not alone. It seemed fitting that Bobby led me down to St. Augustine, Florida. He was the one who turned me on to the carpenter of old. Lyrics fueled by Old Testament visions, psalms of beauty and betrayal, had me reaching for that book I'd so long dismissed. That dusty relic turned out to be startlingly alive, a voice that read me as if I'd always known the back pages of my life. Somehow, the time we are born, my bad. Somehow, the time we are born into is a question mark to it. Somehow, the time we are born into isn't a question mark to eternity. Though even eternity feels like the wrong title. How can a fragment, some letters, contain him who the heavens cannot contain? Right now, Mr. Zimmy would probably smack me with his harmonica and mutter, not that deep, man. The disciple asking to sit on his right and left, kill that guy. Ego. Years ago, I abandoned myself along the highway, letting any spirit claim me as host. I wore my library card thin, crisscrossing this land of opportunity and scar, my battered camper van, short for Scarlet, although she was more of a burgundy. She didn't seem to mind the misprint and always got me where I needed to be, like it was an honorable profession. The Buddhist trail led me to the Gita, which I discussed with Hari Krishnas outside a Hashish festival in Colorado. Transcendental meditations became my time out of mind. Whenever I touched bliss, some cosmic jester would unravel it with a drop spindle and sneer, "Not so fast, try again." Then came the loathing, dark nights of the soul so deep, I read Japanese death poems and carved eulogies into the sidewalk. I became a recluse, holed up in a San Francisco apartment on Pine with a record player and a typewriter, like they were Apollo and Aphrodite. Anything to quiet the fear that plagued me like homesickness. When they stopped speaking, I turned to mushroom ceremonies, took heroic doses, watched fractals spin, and chased my true self through a labyrinth. Dead end. The apartment may as well have been a holding cell. My most overdue library book, Self-Harm Ideology, buried alive in late fees. The furniture took turns laughing at me. I stargazed and smoked spliffs until my fingers charred. Like a displaced yogi with no guru, I fasted, not for godhood, but grief. Couldn't face the mirror without trembling. Even the cockroaches warned the spiders, whatever he's got, you don't want it. Art house films deepen the confusion. Was a city still a city, or a parasite gnawing at your shadows? The poets I revered welcomed madness, only to die by bottle, bullet, or burnout. Cue bar fights with stoic philosophers who told me pain was just a state of mind. I went home for the holidays, but my folks were out of the country, and my Dharma pup was dead. Silence felt like a predator, swooping in whenever I sat still, only to drop me into Dante's seventh circle. After all these years offering my fragmented self to the gods, I couldn't even write my name and stand by it. Jacob, had he ever been? Paced the hall, flicked the lighter, blast the music, down some whiskey, midnight visuals of sexual escapism, resounding gong. Daily affirmations, I am God, the Almighty experiencing himself, despite the burnt holes in my jacket. I identified as spiritual, not religious, too free to dogma, I ain't your lapdog, but even unbelief is a creed. Religio, bound to what? Bound to who? Purgatory is a greyhound. Last stop, Desolation Road. I took off my shoes like some Latter-day Moses to feel the dust under my feet and mumbled some words like it was my last will and testament, a poor man's psalm. If I could translate, it was simply, help, I'm so tired. That night, the stars finally spoke to me. I saw what Van Gogh was after, how every poet and troubadour was only ever praising or protesting the same ancient hymn. Heavenly King Comforter, Spirit of all truth, who are present everywhere, filling all things, treasury of all blessing and giver of life, come and dwell within us and cleanse us of all stain. Save our soul, O gracious one. Tears that had been dammed up by years of numbing substance finally flowed, a cleansing of the pain I'd carried as a spiritual vagabond wandering in the wilderness. Like the Gerasene demoniac, bound in chains, gnashing his teeth night and day, my on-the-road encounter broke like the first silver of a light, piercing the long dark of a polar night. I could hear the echo of that child from Placerville, the one who had been wounded and left to bleed out. Arise, O sleeper, and Christ will enlighten thee. Foreign yet familiar, a return to the womb, no words, just warmth, safety, and the deep certainty of being known. Now clothed in my right mind, I longed to follow this Christ of Nazareth to the ends of the earth, but it was not yet time to board the boat. The sages of San Francisco had told me, all of it's the same, yet Jesus was the only one who had to be explained away. A good teacher, an avatar, mostly mythologized, a tool for mass control, origins, a mushroom. But the veil had been torn. Love had a face. Right, where was I? Somewhere between John Wesley Hardin and the itch for the highway. The next morning I packed up scarred, not knowing exactly where I was going, only that I had to go. And that's how I ended up at the Oblates, a monastery of 3. Trinity.
Thank you. Next up, we'll have Allison Goulart, and let me read a little brief bio for her. Allison is no stranger to the stage, performing since an early age in theater productions, television, and film. Her passion for storytelling extends to creative writing, which has been published in various formats. Her creativity flows into her work, where by day you can find her as a marketing maven specializing in branding and content creation. In addition to her other creative pursuits, she has also directed a couple of theatrical productions, to include Vanities at Imagination Theater. Allison attended San Jose State University, where she majored in theater arts and communications. She received the distinct honor of being named Fellow of the Coucher Mitchell Event in Excellence in Oral Interpretation, as well as placing first as a finalist as an actress. Some of her favorite roles include Sybil Chase in Private Lives, Rosie Alvarez, Bye Bye Birdie, and Melissa Gardner in Love Letters. And so before we welcome her up to the stage, let me just clarify one thing that I said previously and forgot to clarify before I read Allison's bio. At the bar, the free sodas are for the people performing, not for every single person in the bar. I went a little wild there. And let's see, I think that's it. And without further ado, let's clap for Allison and warm it up. Woo, woo, woo!
Gotta get my space right. Thank you. Oh, it could be a little lower. I don't want it in my, yeah. Thank you. Thanks so much. Down, down, down the road, down the witch's road. Catchy, right? I took that off of a series of Disney. Some of you might know. I think that if I was alive in the 1600s, I'd be burnt at the stake. But maybe. Now hear me out. Perhaps, though, there might be a witch in all of us, just working towards a better tomorrow. Okay, so I'm a self-proclaimed witch, but I'm also a woman, and I'm frustrated with the healthcare system, among other things. I remember my mom told me a story about her childhood. Back then, it was taboo to talk about sex or women's issues, and she went into the cupboard and she found some maxi pads, or sanitary napkins, if you will, and she went to her mother, my grandmother, and asked, "What are these?" And my grandmother, flushed and embarrassed, said, "They're napkins, now put them away." Well, it was my mom's turn to set the table that night, and wouldn't you know, guests were expected. That's it, my next dinner party, I'm setting the plates with pads. We've come a long way. We have a long way to go. Here's hoping we're not going backwards. A woman seeks solace, her health a question mark, met with a dismissive remark. Fibroids fester, blood flows unaddressed. One pill, they whisper, for all you detest. Weight gain, hushed libidos, the price you must pay for a body silenced, its woes swept away. A man walks confidently, health a minor blip, a pat on the back, a quick medical trip. Hearts murmur, pressures rise, anxieties quelled. One pill they prescribe, a story compelled. Headaches and sniffles, mere inconveniences faced. His needs acknowledged in their rightful place. One pill, two worlds, a chasm so wide, where whispers of women are easily denied. Research skewed, funding scarce, a narrative spun, bodies dismissed, battles half won. Healthcare's a right, not a luxury denied, so let those pills crumble, the narrative shift towards equity's compass, a healthcare gift where bodies of all are valid and seen. Yearn for solace and healing, no longer one pill to a revolution brewing. Let the one pill fits all remedy melt, for in its diversity, true healing is dealt. down the road, down the witch's road. I took the path less traveled, and now I don't know where the fuck I am. But I'm not mad at the view. The familiar path, well worn and etched with expectations, promises comfort and a sense of belonging. It whispers of picket fences and the pitter-patter of tiny feet, a picture of happiness painted in familiar strokes. But then there's another landscape vibrant with hues of self-discovery and purpose. Here the path is carved not by societal norms, but by my own unique desires, fueled by passions that may not fit neatly into pre-designed boxes. It requires courage to defy expectations and forge my own definition of fulfillment. Community pressures and curious glances are often shot my way. Navigating this road of life with all its twists and turns, not relying on worn-out maps and predetermined routes, this path that I embrace does not exist without its challenges. It lies in the life I get to create and not by what is expected. This path is far from ordinary, where life isn't always defined by a single narrative. Little boxes on the hillside, little boxes made of ticky-tacky, little boxes on the hillside, little boxes all the same. And the boys go into business and marry and start a family in boxes made of ticky-tacky, and they all look just the same. Down, down, down the road, down the witch's road. As I ponder the paths I've chosen in life, I couldn't help but think of an unexpected detour I took just this morning. So, like many of us, the smell of freshly ground coffee is my morning motivation. Every day for the last decade, I follow the ritual: get out of bed, boil water, grind beans, brew, sip, and enjoy. The act is so simple that it's become ingrained where I'm an autopilot. This morning, however, was a different story entirely. As I reached for those holy grail of coffee beans, there was that pang of familiarity. But at the very last moment, before hitting that button to grind those coffee beans, I noticed I had poured a heaping helping of dry dog food into the grinder. I mean, we've all heard of coffee poop produced by the civet, right? But this takes it to a whole new level. I believe that Kibble Coffee is going to be a barking brew success. Speaking of barking, I do have a dog named Penny the pup. Why else would I have Kibble lying around the house? I would have liked to have brought her today, but she's at home. The truth is she doesn't have separation anxiety, but I do. Also, she's 12 years old, and while she's still putting in some pretty impressive miles out on the trails, her lifespan is short, and I want to spend as much time as I possibly can with her. We don't deserve dogs, but I'm glad Penny the pup is in my life. Through the trees, hidden secrets are kept, an intricate network of vibrations passing from stem to root, root to stem. Survival of the forest depends on these patterns of communication. Treading through leaves and rolling on grass, the wild one emerges, a spirit free to explore, ignoring all commands, defiant by nature, nurtured for discipline. Here, there are no constraints to roam, to run. Loyalty, a steadfast companion, guides the way, digging in dirt, drinking from glacier lagoons with wind-blown hair matted and disheveled. The vastness of the wilderness amplifies a feeling of isolation and harsh realities. Scattered scents carry a silent story of territorial responses and chemical substances. Fear and hope intertwine, navigating the olfactory labyrinth, creating expansive expressions. A heart attuned to nature's rhythm, this wild one absorbs the wisdom and life intentions transferred from stem to root, root to stem. For those who choose to listen, hidden secrets are revealed. Down, down, down the road, down the witch's road. Sometimes those hidden secrets lie in the most unexpected places. It's in the deepest, darkest corners of our world. With a transfer of intentions, we try to find light. In the midst of uncertainty, in the face of what feels overwhelming, we seek these glimmers of hope and find new paths forward. Because even in these deepest of darkness, life finds a way of creating its own light. From the darkness of the sea lies many mysteries indeed. On the bottom they do dwell, squid, eels, worms, too many to tell. Never seen the light of day, these creatures dwell far below the bay, where loneliness is the norm and emptiness begins to form. On the bottom they do dwell, swimming in their perfect vast cell. Through the darkness one did sought, plunging upward it did fought. Through the darkness it displayed an eagerness to reach the surface, no delay. This tiny creature, scary at first sight, but always creating their own light, found solstice from the sea above, granted one last wish of love. A glimpse of hope, a moment's grace, before the deep claimed its cold embrace. The light above, a peaceful gleam, a final calm, a tranquil dream. No longer bound by ocean's hold, a story whispered, bravely told, of darkness, light, and love's embrace, a final peace in time and space. And just because I want you guys to leave here with a song in your head too, down, down, down the road, down the witch's road. How long could I hold it for? I'm done. Thank you, everyone. My name is Allison. I just wanted to thank Jen for stepping in and hosting, Rena for coordinating the event, the Green Room for allowing us to share our words in this space, and to all the other performers, I'm humbled to be sharing the stage with you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. So next up, we have some amazing music by J.B. Barton, who is a versatile Americana artist. Let's see. A versatile Americana artist with roots across California, including Southern California, Humboldt County, and Oakland. Currently based in Sacramento, his music seamlessly blends country, folk, blues, rock, and jazz, having opened for legends like David Grisman, Sam Bush, Green Sky Bluegrass, and Devil Makes Three. J.B. Barton showcases his versatility in musicianship. He draws inspiration from icons like Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, Bob Dylan, and others, infusing his own music with a contemporary twist. Barton has also been a key member of bands like Old Silvertongue, Bucky Walters, T-Sisters, and Brothers Comatose, enriching his musical journey. Theirs. J.B. Barton's debut full-length, The Always Friendly Outlaw, is set to make a mark in the Americana world. His evocative lyrics and soulful melodies captivate audiences. Get ready to experience J.B. Barton's exceptional live performance at music festivals and join him on a genre-bending musical journey. So he is next up, and during his music, which will last for a little bit less than 10 minutes, I invite you all to look at the books that the featured poets for today have brought. They're on a table by the bar. When we come back after JB's music, we'll kick off our featured poets, which include Jonathan Rice and Raggedy Andy. Okay, thank you.
I'm playing now?
You're playing now.
I encourage you to, instead of looking at the books, listen to my music. Yeah. First. Yeah. And then look at the books. Yeah. And buy the books. I encourage you to even buy the books. Oh. Sorry, Becca. The mute was on. There we go. So this song right here is a call to action for anybody who has revolutionary tendencies. It's called The Wrong Bars. And this is the right bar to play the wrong bars in, I hope. And if it's the wrong bar, I hope your aim is bad. Here's a song for good old friends who always help you out, who steer you clearly back on track when you feel full of doubt. Secondly, for friends like me who always need a hand. Nobody makes it on their own, we all need our own band. A family band, a band of brothers, a band of gypsies too. There ain't no telling who'll go wrong until they really do. Scrambling for power or some semblance of control seems to take up half of most folks' time, if not the whole. An empire so top-heavy folks can't wait to see it fall. Never revolutionaries quick to share the times with y'all. They'll buy up all the weapons, I'd rather buy guitars. Folks get shot for saying shit like this in the wrong bars. I can't make heads or tails of anything they said. I see beauty everywhere, I must have fallen dead. I can't make heads or tails, I've more sides than a token. We've ridden this horse long and hard, and she's all bent and broken. Another tale of woe and strife that many a man has known. I had a dog, a truck, a wife, and now I'm home alone. But I prefer it this way, I enjoy my company. We use one another, babe, don't feel sorry for me. And let's not make excuses for the reasons we feel down. Hold on tight and things just might tend to turn around. Let's bring those soldiers home from war and heal their wounds and scars. Folks get shot for saying shit like this in the wrong bars. I've been told by friends and foes and family as well that if I stay the course this way, I'll find myself in hell. But I'm not shifting gears this year, this truck runs tried and true. When I get there, I'll throw my bird up in the air at you. And money ain't worth nothing without community, so lift your voices up to sing in perfect harmony. While the tax we pay's getting pissed away on champagne and cigars. Folks get shot for saying shit like this in the wrong bars. Folks get shot for saying shit like this in the wrong bars. Thank you. So I have a special treat for you, but I might stumble because I wrote this last night in a gummy haze. It's a really silly song, sort of. It goes from silly to heavy, kind of seamlessly. And I make up 3 words. So for all you poets out there, there's some word play. I'm just going to tell you the words before I sing it. It goes, the words are, I'm a Libra, so I'm Libra-roll. My message is cerebral. These are all made-up words. We gotta have each other's backs, or people are terrible. Yeah. And so this is a call and repeat. So I want you to sing with me. Are you down? Are you down to sing with me? So it goes. I'm a Libra, so I'm Libra-roll. You could try it. Now you say, I'm a Libra, so I'm Libra-roll. My message is cerebral. We gotta have each other's backs, or people are terrible. I'm a Libra, so I'm Libra-roll. My message is cerebral. We gotta have each other's backs, or people are terrible. Unbelievable, they're defunding FEMA, y'all. Just another tragedy, might be your funeral. Don't say your majesty, not time to bend a knee. People made of energy, conscious living beautiful. People are the best thing that people got going. That's why the population of the peeps keeps growing. I wish for every person's cup overflowing without even knowing it's the best we ever had. Oligarchy, I call it malarkey. I don't want a king, won't kiss the ring, fuck your monarchy. They got balls of steel, cut off their legs and call them Sparky. Hierarchy, shell the wealth, or the people get mad. I'm a Libra, so I'm Libra-roll. My style is cerebral. Yeah, wait. We gotta have each other's backs, or people are terrible, unbelievable. I'm a Libra, so I'm Libra-roll. My mindset is cerebral. We gotta have each other's backs, or people are terrible, unbelievable. I'm a Libra, so I'm Libra-roll. And peace is so conceivable. We gotta have each other's backs, or people are terrible, unbelievable. Thank you so much. Y'all the first people to hear that. Yeah, I'm J.B. Barton. I'll be back. Go buy a book. Do I have time for another one? Or? Yeah, do your thing, yeah. I'll play something sweet while y'all buy books. Yeah, that sounds good. I'll play one more for you. Let's see. Thank you. Thank you, Jen. This is a song about my hometown, or at least the area I grew up in. I'm from a little town called Poway, California. It's an inland San Diego County in the foothills of the Peninsular Ranges. And when I was a kid, I couldn't stand the place. I really couldn't wait to get out of there, and I would escape often to the little hill towns just east of Poway called Ramona and the surrounding beautiful areas. And so this is an homage to the place that now I have a great appreciation for, the beautiful Chaparral. The song's called Ramona. Sitting in the dark at night, playing my guitar, I can hear a melody fall from a shooting star. You could try to catch it, but it may slip through your hands. It leaves here tomorrow night to travel foreign lands. If you catch it, take it home and say you love it so. Remember, it was never yours, so please just let it go. Ramona, I'm running away from home. Ramona, I'm running away from home. Oh, it's the firemen. Everybody loves firemen, right? Yeah, we all love firemen. And no offense if you're one of them, but nobody likes the cops. I don't even think cops like themselves. That's how you end up in that position. So, I'll give you a hug, bro. Don't worry. It's good. Your dad did his best. It's not his fault that he never hugged you. Anyway, driving Highway 67 off Poway Road. Go to see the Cognac Aperona Casino. Donate every paycheck that I earned from a no-show. Nepotism never really was the way to go. I sneak in late through the garage and steal some herb from Pops. Smoke with my dog Buster until all the chatter stops. Ramona, I'm running away from home. Ramona, I'm running away from home. Let's get out to Julian and eat some apple pie. Hike a trail in Cuyamaca, swifts go flying by. Take me up to Stonewall Mountain, climb right to the peak. I can feel the desert wind in every word you speak. Don't take me for granted, full of mica and fool's gold. Just beneath the surface I have treasures to behold. Ramona, I'm running away from home. Ramona, I'm running away from home. Thank you. Shout out to Becca, crushing it on the soundboard over there.
Thank you so much. Okay, so our next presenter on the stage is one of our features, Raggedy Andy. Raggedy Andy is an abandoned house-obsessed poet and mentor from Santa Cruz. Her highly anticipated new book, Slaughterhouse Ballroom, follows a string of celebrated publications, Portrait of an Infection, The Powder Room, and My Body That Comes Off in Pieces. This latest book is a veneration of her muse, the body, and spirit of abandoned houses and the secrets they project. In addition to her written work, she was Grand Slam champion of Santa Cruz in 2015, joining her team at the National Poetry Slam in Oakland, where they placed in the top 5 overall. She went on to sweep the Southwest Shootout in 2018, winning the individual competition as well as the group competition alongside her fellow Santa Cruz teammates. Today, she organizes an exclusive poetry series celebrating the craft of writing and spends her days basking in the sun with her little dog, Frank. Her favorite word is avid. Welcome to the stage, Raggedy Andy.
How y'all doing today? Good. I have 4 books for sale, and I'm gonna read about 3 or 4 poems, depending upon what I have time for, with you guys today. Out of those, I'm gonna start with a poem from my newest book, Slaughterhouse Ballroom. This poem is called Ode to the First Andy. The building recorded your suicide, tattooed it on the palms of her dusty hands, walks with you all of her days. She wears the morning you jumped like a scar, a bone bruise that aches every February. The ceiling of every hotel room carries the echo of your last footsteps. This is how a man becomes a hammer of God on a rooftop. This is how a family gets built out of waterlogged wood, saturated with every previous generation's drowned pain. I want to say that I will visit the building and see the drop of her head when we lock eyes. I want to tell her that I have the same name as you, that you have remained a statue in mid-fall all of my life. But the truth is, I will write your poem here in the mountains, surrounded by trees that will never sigh your name, far from the pedestal of your escape, far from the trauma bonding I want to do with a building I have never been inside of, over a man I have never met. I ask my father, what year did your Uncle Andy die? And he responds with no hesitation, 1967. He responds as the 15-year-old he was when you jumped. And when he says 1967, what he's saying is, this is when the scar appeared. This is the year the architecture began to limp with our blood on her hands. Andy, you flung your body from the sky and stayed floating forever. Andy, this is how you buried your bones in the basement, and to this day there is a Rolodex in the lobby with our name in it over and over and over, frantically scribbled over every inch. This is called Coal Miner's Daughter. My mother is hundreds of miles away across the ocean with an iPhone on speaker in her lap. If you ask me how she got there, I may say that she walked. My mother is a king and a buoy in one breath. Over the wind through the car window and how it distorts our connection, she says into the phone, "Mine coal, Adrian. Coal miners don't have nice lives. They work and work and work just to feed their children." She says this, and what it means is stop seeking joy. Just work, just heal, just erect huge scaffoldings to climb into your body with. She means commit to walking uphill. You don't have to smile, you have to walk, to remain covered in dust. I lay in the bathtub next to my body and we talk sometimes. My mother taught me buoyancy as survival, and all of the hurt places float. My body says, help me, points itself out of the water like a wincing iceberg. I hold it with arms I grew today in the afternoon light through the bathroom window. My body says, let's work. And I say I was born a coal miner's daughter. I climb out of the tub and into the mine shaft. And later, all night in my sleep, I will drip water and dust all over this house. It's a little bit of like a chronic illness poem that I think leads well into my next poem, which is out of the book Portrait of an Infection, which came out in, 2018. Here is a pill, a plan, a patch, a prescription, a refill, a schedule to make it all better. These will fix what's broken. These will save you from yourself and any malady you cannot wish away. This is the answer. There is no freedom from the answer. Freedom means your body is an anvil and we have hung it above your head. Pharmaceutical addicts are the invisible junkies who stay hidden behind name tags that read patient. It's called medication, not drugs. It's called dependency, not fiending. Lines drawn so lightly in the sand that you can barely see them. Where capitalism meets medicine and the demons that hide inside closets are given a red carpet to dance on. They are given a bottle with a child-proof lid to call home. I have been the junk-sick dawn on repeat, the relief of the rush before breakfast, the unshakable shivering, all of it legal, all of it an acceptable way to rot. My addiction was fed by credit cards and drive-through pharmacies. Prescriptions are the hall pass. This is the immunity from being categorized as we are. The only time I ever overdosed was through an IV after surgery, while under professional care. A mistake, a miscalculation, a slip-up at work. My vision became a tunnel, every edge graying itself out to black. My extremities became icy engines of cars freezing miles away in a town I have never been to. My lips turned like expired leaves shaking themselves off the branch. Just an error. A lapse in judgment, a neglect of human life at work. Western medicine's junkie ODs under hospital bulbs in a gown and bracelet because anything is normal if it happens in the light. Any feeding of the demon can be rationalized for profit. And when I kicked, alone and rebellious, I only survived the stopping of my own heart to tell doctors about themselves, to at once charge them with their crimes, and to be a thorn in the side of theory to disprove each hypothesis that any able-bodied motherfucker ever labeled me with. Western medicine's junkie is funded by insurance, is supported by her family, has everyone's sympathy and no one's attention, needs to get well. Getting well is where we will go, come the hell or come the high water that is both built and buried in this paradigm of pain and profit. Every hand here is hungry. Every hand here gets fed. Invisible and illuminated, slack-jawed, righteous patient screaming in a soundproof room. Thank you. Okay, we'll do this one. I would say, do you guys want more like heavy shit? But I don't actually have that much light shit. So we're gonna stick with heavy shit. You know, I would give you the option if I had them. This is called Puppet. This is for, I just always have to say this as like a way to heal. This is for my old slam coach that I am still recovering from. So this is Puppet. When a man like you loves a woman, a poet, a performer, a protege, his entire ego moves into her mouth. Bird nests in her throat. The ego is born again through every word she speaks, is supported by her tongue and thoughts, and this is how you romance yourself. A reflection of you succeeding. A place for you to get to say, look what I can do, using another person's voice. I always believe I was keeping some precious thing safe in my cheeks, that I could one day erupt words that might make you finally proud of me. You convinced me you could swallow me whole and spit me out perfect, so I let you write the definition of the word perfect, handed you the knife and watched you etch it into the sky above where I slept, exploded like a star under the weight of it, hated myself for not shining bright enough to blind you. You once told me you wanted love to cripple you, and I wanted to be that injury. Wanted to leave you bruised and bleeding in awe. I didn't mind believing that everything you did to me was love. I didn't mind gathering every scrap and loose end you would scatter on the ground before me, stitch it into a crown, and wore it like a proud queen. When a man like you loves a woman, he will never say it in her presence. Keeps words of praise locked like jewels behind a pane of glass, shows them to everyone but her. And I didn't mind this love. This crashed car highway, this white knuckle fist throat, this is what made us special. My ability to withstand you. My ability to walk into a mockery of me and perform for you a colorful puppet, a prize or a joke, and I always let you decide which one. When a man like you says, help me, he means sacrifice yourself. And I did it blinded on a tightrope, and every day I died, the audience stayed quiet. And you said, can't you hear the roar of them? Can't you hear the deafening evidence that I love you? All right, we'll do Portrait of an Infection is I am a clean and sober addict, and this is my book regarding all of that. So when I read from this book, I usually like to do this poem. It's called Christmas All the Time. The old drunk saunters onto the beach and sizes me up. I'm thinking, don't fucking talk to me. I'm just trying to take my dog on a walk. I'm not here to get hit on or to deal with the existential realities of our disease. So whatever it is that you want, I am not it. Hey, I like your hair. Thanks. And your purse. Together, it sort of looks like Christmas. His skin is a leather bag sagging off his bones. His eyes wishing wells too much pain has been tossed into. Yeah, I guess it does, I say. Happy holidays from me, then. He gestures to an empty soda can lying in the sand and asks me if it's mine. It was here when I got here. It's all yours. He then tells me it's one of his hobbies to take trash off the beach. His pride wants me to believe that he does this for fun and not to eat. Cleans up out of the goodness of his heart and not to feed the hot, hungry demon in his blood. I find lots of cool things this way. Fringe benefits, he says confidently. He grabs the can. Have a lovely day, Miss Christmas all the time. A lazy, slurred wink and smile falls from his face to the beach where I leave it to blow away. You too, sir. I cross the sand to the pavement and into my car with tears in my eyes for all that we are and all that we won't ever be. What the world can see of us is always the ugliest sliver. Today, alcoholism looks like a clean beach, being named Christmas, and a vow to recognize the broken light that we keep in the center of our chests, right where no one can see it. Do you like one more? Is that cool? Yeah? Okay. Let's see. Let's do this one. Pacific Northwest. Portland is always how I lift the lamp in the dark. City of bridges and water, my strange birthplace 10 winters ago. The Pacific Northwest wind is an anxious guest, gasping herself into all of your voids, like a dependable clockwork. I was a turning leaf, and I am turning still. City of waterfall, coffin lid cracking, and 1,000 wings exploding against the pavement. When you look at the earth from the airplane, you can see that above the sky is a ceiling. Bright, rolling hills of blinding white, alien terrain of foam. A secret the sky keeps locked in the attic. In the middle of the night, I feel this poem spreading herself like honey across my cheap sheets. Patron saint of Oregon air, spilling her dress on a motel bed, lengthening all the shadows, saving all the raindrops. When I get home, the ocean is devouring all the roads and shutting off all the lights. 3 people tell me I am in their dream on the same night. Like an impervious ghost ignoring this 10-year circle, I haunt what is behind any door I can get my foot in. My New Year's resolution is to sit up straighter and stop biting my tongue. And by that I mean I am trying to matter more. I am trying to be whipping post less. I am still this brand new thing squirming on the hungry ground, limping through the sky. A God's head hall of mirrors. each reflection accusing me of something different, each bandaging a different wound. And even from way up here in the sky, you cannot decide whether you are proud or sad to be a cacophony at your age. You, small bird flying north, you still seek a disallowed nirvana. You still have to settle for swaying back and forth on the sidewalk at 2 a.m. in the rain, cradling a cigarette, exhaling the storm. This is the deluge, the flood, the decade. Thank you. Is that good? You guys want one more? One more? Okay, all right. I'll do one more out of this book because I haven't done anything out of this book. Questions for the creepy men who called me CVS 3 times, called me beautiful in CVS 3 times in 5 minutes. Do you think it makes women feel good to be evaluated in this way? To be cased down each aisle? Hey, beautiful. No response. 32 seconds later, and 2 aisles down. Hey, you're really beautiful. Look, I'm out to buy cleaning supplies. I'm not here to entertain the notion that you have a cock and that keeping its demands to yourself seems to be a problem for you. That is not my responsibility. Do you believe it is a woman's responsibility to make up for your sexual shortcomings? And do you believe that this is anything but that? Do you think that when I create a wide berth between us, I am simply playing hard to get? Do you think the prey enjoys seeing the canned hunters? Last I checked, there are 2 of you, 4 walls, 1 of me, so that's exactly what this is. You're the reason my shoulders never stop bracing. You're the reason women hate the words relax and smile, because you give us every reason to be tense and to frown, made to be war-torn vigilant, then asked what we're so serious about. So look, okay, there's a 50-50 chance that you're just a pathetic, underfucked 40-something with romantic dreams of sweeping me off my feet to an island. And there's a 50-50 chance that you have zip ties in your back pocket and a dungeon torture chamber for a basement and romantic dreams of sweeping me off my feet and into my trunk to drive me to said basement. So yeah, I'm a little fucking tense. I'm too smart to think you're being polite. I'm not flattered. I'm 5 seconds from homicidal. Wrong, small, weak-looking girl. 3 aisles down, you whisper to your cohort, she's perfect. Which raises the question, like, perfect for what, sir? Are you buying ingredients for a stew? Or are you trying to fuck? I dress like this 1, for me, 2, to pull the demons from the shadows, and hey, looks like it worked. When women are evaluated in this way, our indoctrination robs us. Deer in headlights disarmed. We have swallowed huge cotton balls of silence in the name of not being that girl, in the name of not being the squeaky wheel. Best not draw any attention to all the attention that is drawn to us, lest every bad thing that ever happens to us be chalked up to our fault for being so fucking noisy. You see, all of the above I can say to you in this poem, but in that moment, all of my breath was starlit in broad daylight. I cannot happen in real time. I am stuck observing me too. So this is a prayer to be Raggedy Andy in the moment. The next time I have to ask cavemen a few questions. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. That was great. So now our next poet up is a featured reader, Jonathan Rice, AKA JR. Yeah, we can clap. Let's just clap. Actually, it's been about, we've been going for about a little over an hour. So if anybody wants to just stretch and shake it out a little bit, we still have about a little, a chunk of time. And so we need to still tune in. That was great. Raggedy Andy got us down on a deeper register. I was like, whoa, we can't move. Something's happening. Okay, so we got to hold that power that they give us. So go ahead and stand up and walk in there and buy something from the bar if you like, or buy a book and then come back over here too. So let me go back to reading. Jonathan Rice, aka JR, has always been captivated by the power of words and their ability to inspire, motivate, and transform lives. As a young man, he knew that he wanted to make a difference in the world through his writing and his ability to connect with people. JR's novella, Broken Pencils, was the recipient of the 2024 Literary Titan Gold Book Award, Literary Global Gold Award, Hawthorne Prize Shortlist, and earned third place in Best African American Fiction and Best New Fiction in the 2024 Speak Up Radio International Firebird Book Award contest, third place in Best African American Literature, and an honorable mention in Best Quote for the 2023 Outstanding Creator Award, an honorable mention in both the 2023 San Francisco Book Festival Award and New York Book Festival Award for Best Wildcard Entry, and was a top finalist for Hidden River Arts 2023 Blue Mountain Award, period. And it's available right out there. Yes. And let me continue. His poetry collection, I Was, Am, Will Be, was a semifinalist for the 2023 St. Lawrence Book Award through Black Lawrence Press. His short story, Depends, Goodnight, made the shortlist for the 2023 Letter Review Prize for Short Stories. His travel essays, No Pasa Nada, earned third place in the 16th Annual Solas Award for Best Men's Travel Story. His poem, Righteous Rage, PTSD, was published in the poetry collection The Town, an anthology of Oakland poets, by Nomadic Press. And in addition to his writing accolades, he earned the Rookie of the Year Award at the 2005 National Collegiate Poetry Slam in Philadelphia. He was a semifinalist in the 2023 Berkeley Poetry Slam Finals. He is also the author of I Was, Am, Will Be, #1, and I Was, Am, Will Be, #2. Thank you. Let's give it up in advance.
Thank you. Yeah, we keep clapping. Yeah, we keep clapping. Yeah. You read my whole bio, like my whole life story. Thank you. I appreciate that. All these beautiful people. Y'all welcome to get closer. Yeah, nobody bites. Yeah. 3 stories. 3 stories. 3 stories. Stories. 1. Hear ye, hear ye. Hear ye, hear ye. Hear the guy testify on how he got his heart sold to a mysterious figure who knew about the best of life. You see, I met him at the crossroads, but then I was left to die with a lost soul. Couldn't trust a pleasant guy, but in this case I thought so. Back in that junior high place, this brother was more likely to become a suicide case. For the do or die rate took others just like me. In my mid-teens, I realized my lovely life was possessed. I couldn't live clean because the devil had a bloody knife in my chest. That's what sin brings when you got the evils biting your flesh. And I did things that led me not even frightened to death. And I was never blessed to see the light the church had, so I walked a cursed path to hear these 3 words asked. Rest in peace, rest in peace, rest in peace, little Malcolm, please don't die. Everybody's wishing for you to stay alive. You were just a boy riding his bike. The car screeched. Them bullets started to fly. No, this ain't right. Oh, God, please don't end his life. It ain't his time. I remember dealing with the slimes. Shit, we were just shooting craps, living to do crime. Hey, yo, we robbed everything from Best Buy to Office Max, but shh, we never get caught to do time. We used to jack fake thugs' clothes right off their backs. We had some beef with these dudes down the street because they kept talking smack. One night, I heard them shoot off rounds of heat, pow, pow. But I wasn't afraid. Instead, I was mad, so it just took me a while to sleep. So I confronted them the next day, told them, everything about you is fake. They started bragging. I said, man, prove what you say. They left laughing. Later, they came back packing. When I was walking back to my house, I heard the power of the Mac-10. So I ducked out, and riding his bike towards me was little Malcolm. Before I realized what happened, they shot him. They shot him. They shot him. Man, I must have got his neighbors, family, friends, police. I got anyone to help his body off these cold streets. We rushed him to the Highland Hospital. His mama was yelling to the doctor, this can't be possible. The bleeding was almost unstoppable. I even whispered to his ear, don't stop breathing. Don't stop breathing. Don't stop breathing. Little Malcolm, please don't die. Everybody's wishing for you to stay alive. You were just a boy riding his bike, the car screeched. Then bullets started to fly. No, this ain't right. Oh, God, please don't end this life. You could take mine. I apologize. I shouldn't have provoked those guys. When them bullets shot, it should have been me on the other side, not you. And I can't take seeing your closed eyes. I can't take seeing your folks cry. You're too young, and I won't let your soul fly. My heart is breaking apart, and all these people know why. We want you to live, little Malcolm. Please don't die. Please don't die. Please don't die. Reminds me like a story. Reminds me of another story. Can I tell you a story? Hey, y'all, can I tell you a story? More like a history. No. More like her story. No. More like my parents' story. What should we call it? Maybe some. No. We should call this. Oh, I know. We should call it Sour Grapes. Or not once, but twice. I remember happiness, and when the feeling became true, when I was given the news that I'd be a father soon. My face lit up in shock like, you know, when you get a hiccup and stop. We were having our first child, and I never felt more proud. I remember my wife and I had been working on this kid thing for a while, so just imagine my smile when the doctor pronounced, you're going to have twins. Then sending my mind through this whirlwind, imagining how their little worlds would begin. I remember dreaming of a future where I'd hold their tiny hands on the first day of class, then let go of their grown hands once they graduated at the top of their class, watch them mature from little children to adult humans and teach them everything I've learned to understand. I remember 7 weeks before expected, the twins pressed ejection. My wife's water broke. I choked. We panicked. I panicked. We speeding, deep breathing through traffic. She's screaming, ah! All the way to the hospital. Despite all obstacles, the nurse said, everything will be all right. Just stay positive. I remember they said, wait. Took my wife away to operate and said, wait. Escorted me out into the hallway as nurses collided with one another, and one of the other doctors said that something's wrong. And then came the alarms, and I kept asking, what's going on? I remember they said one of the twins had been strangled by the umbilical cord during birth. And though the other twin has survived, she has swallowed too much blood left by the other twin. I remember asking over and over and over again, is she still alive? Is she still alive? Is she still alive? And pushing the doctor aside to find my wife in bed with flooded eyes, and in the window next to her was my baby girl. She had wires and needles plugged into her world, tubes down her throat. She was gasping for air like a fish outside of his bowl. Her tiny arms and legs began to convulse. Her EKG read raging high pulse. I remember pounding and beating against that hollow window until my tears smeared the glass, because I can save her, they can save her, we can save her from coughing until her end. And I remember they did everything possible to save our twins. They even gave us counseling and encouraged us to start up a family again. But what they failed to understand, what they failed to comprehend was I had died. Not once, but twice. Twice. That feels like a story. Twice that reminds me of a story that makes me say no, that makes me feel a way. I feel some type of way. I feel some type of way, like a righteous rage, rage, trying to escape my rightful place. I feel some type of way, like a righteous rage, blinding me of my pride's mistakes. I feel some type of way, like a righteous rage, hiding a beast and hibernate. I feel some type of way, like a righteous rage, like a righteous rage, like a righteous rage. I felt rage once, this righteous rage once, long time ago, about 3 years ago. Wednesday, September 22nd, 2022, 12:45. My school in Oakland, Rudsdale Continuation, experienced a mass shooting in which two boys, entered my campus with semi-automatic weapons and shot up the lobby. 6 people were injured. 1 later died from his injuries. This piece is dedicated to David Zachariah. Righteous rage. Yeah! Watch out, everybody. Get down now. Shock, playing the lobby. Shots, maim 6 bodies. Pop, sang semi-audies. Listen, everybody. Lock down now. Drop to the floor. Block the doors. Let the knocks go ignored. Stay still. This is not a drill. Chills I feel from surreal text read. It's real. A build of grief fills and sinks as time stands still and shrinks. I can hardly think as each second peeps, as each minute creeps by, when shit happens like a climactic action, doors blasted off the hinges, bulging my senses as 3 relentless cops rushed into the entrance, guns lifted and aimed at my position as if scripted. Hands up, my arms reached to the sky. Don't move, my body frozen like ice. Outside, my legs barely alive, walking with a sigh toward the front, feeling crushed by the school I loved. Walls torn up with bullet slugs, floor filled up with pools of blood. Oakland afternoon disrupt with streets flooded by armored trucks. SWAT team erupts with guns out their trunks. From above were choppers around the sun. From below were the savages we'd become. In the end, no one. Who am I? PTSD, powerless, terrified, spiteful, defeated by demons which haunt this life of mine. For my happily ever after gets denied wherever apathy's disaster must reside, and sadly measures factors to my demise. These chapters I prescribe have no laughter to describe. So who decides if we truly match her and God's scattered design? Are we only defined by society's confines, like a student of mine who just wanted to shine, a boy so divine who had begun his prime, not a sum of crime, gunned down by two slimes within the drum line of an eye for an eye? Where can he find his peace of mind and live long enough to eat his feast and dine within the beast that is mankind? What kind of man doesn't understand how to feel, or how the affected are real, or how easy it is to kill and so hard to heal? When all will is lost by the slightest danger, will all be lost from righteous anger? No. If all will is lost by the slightest danger, will all be lost from righteous anger? No. If all will is lost from righteous anger, will all be, if all will is lost from the slightest danger, will all be lost from righteous anger? I don't know. So I feel pain. This pain is all I know. This pain I can't control. This damage inside my soul. This damage I can't let go. I can't let go. I can't let go. So I feel hurt. I feel damaged. Raise your hand if you're feeling hurt. Raise your hand if you're feeling damaged. Look around, you're not alone. This last piece is for you. You are what remains from damage. Through this pain, you managed to gain an understanding. Your name is no longer damaged. You are what remains from damage. Through this pain, you managed to gain an understanding. Your name is no longer damaged. Your life is for living. Yeah, everybody, just repeat that. Your life is for living. Thank you. Meaning more than survival, rising above idle or suicidal, and then reaching your arrival of self-actualization. You see, once an extension, you live for different reasons. You might change with the seasons, or you might say the same with deeper feelings like seeking your soulmate yet found, or leading future minds toward a better now. Your living doesn't mean hanging on a cliff upside down, or hating every upside or down that exists. So what is living your bliss? Someone ask, what is living your bliss?
What is living your bliss?
Thank you. Finding the right roles for yourself, traveling the right road by yourself, and then knowing that with just a little help, you can achieve the chosen goals for yourself. No, hope won't be easy. And yes, heart pain will be felt, but above all else, your living will leave a lasting legacy. And a crafty elegy for all the sing and self-revelry. There I lived on an edge, advanced, descended, and impacted the earth's bed. Here I remain to regain above this damage and pain. People, repeat after me. I am. Oh, everybody. I am what remains from damage. Through this pain, I managed to gain an understanding. My name is No longer damaged. Who am I? I am free. Who am I? I am free. Who am I? I am free. Who am I? I am me. Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. Yeah. Whoa. I'm sweating bullets. Oh, got one more minute. Hey, when I say J, you say rise. J. J. Name so nice, you gotta say it twice. J. J. Yeah, make some noise, we alive. We alive on a Sunday. Hey, I'm Jay Rice. Jay Rice, name so nice, people often say it. Thanks. I don't know why they do that, they just keep doing that. Who is this loud black man? I am an English teacher. Thanks. I am a broke author. Hey, clap the brokenness. And I'm a sex symbol with bipolar disorder. Hey, sexy and bipolar. Thank y'all so much. That was 3 stories, kind of combined as a medley. That first one was called Little Malcolm. That never happened to me. The second one was called Sour Grapes. That was actually my parents' story. My mom had a miscarriage, so I did a poem from my dad's perspective. So that wasn't me. I never been married. So that was from my dad's, no, seriously, that was my parents' story. Before my mom had me, she had a miscarriage. So that was her story. And the last piece, that was a true story. Y'all feel free to Google it. One of the biggest mass shootings in Oakland happened at my school. Yeah, and I wrote that piece as my way of dealing with the trauma. Thank y'all for allowing me to be vulnerable in front of y'all. I really appreciate that. I don't share that piece often. That's probably like the 3rd time I've done it. So I really appreciate y'all. I appreciate you, Jen. Appreciate you, Raggedy Andy. Appreciate all the performers, everyone. And yeah, God bless. Yeah. Oh, I got books. That's what I was supposed to say. I'm like rambling. Hey, my bad. Okay, last 10 seconds. I got books. I wrote my debut novel. It's called Broken Pencils. I'm not going to give you the whole pitch, but just remember, just imagine Catcher in the Rye in the show Euphoria. If they had a baby, and then boom, it'd be Broken Pencils. I tried to do a black version of Catcher in the Rye set in the Bay. Yeah, it's only $20. Everybody say, only $20. Yeah, you can't afford not to buy it. Hey, thank y'all. I'm over time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Okay, so next up we have Malika. And let me introduce Malika. Malika Noreen is a lesbian identifying cis female that uses the she, her pronouns. She became very active in the drag community of Fairbanks, Alaska in her early 20s. They had a small theater company, Klondike's, Queens & Co. They produced quality drag performances that raised a fair amount of money to support local nonprofits, Interior Aid Association, and also the Breast Cancer Detection Center, as well as PFLAG and our local Planned Parenthood. Her drag character, Ernest Lee Cummings, is an Oscar Wilde reference, the importance of being earnest. She has tried her hand at writing, producing, and stage managing a series of children's Shakespeare plays that were a part of the Fairbanks Shakespeare Company's summer youth camp for 3 consecutive seasons. Her performance at the Green Room will be unlike her previous experiences. She'll be debuting a personal memoir story that offers a unique perspective on what it means to be adopted, but through the lens of being chosen. This is sure to be moving, empowering, and a one-of-a-kind experience that we are honored that she is sharing with us. Okay, let's give it up for Malika. And she's also going to talk about these, some of the things that are on this table here.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you, Jen. I'm going to go ahead and get comfortable up here. I hope you don't mind. Since this is kind of a new format for me, I figured I'd make it pretty informal. The pictures over there to the left are pictures from the era of my adoption going into my babyhood, basically. And then there's a photo album that features a lot of pictures from when I did live in Alaska. So if you're interested, go ahead and take a perusal of those. Now, I asked Jen to introduce me today by my given name, Malika. If you know me, you probably call me Molly. One of the reasons that I chose Malika for today's presentation is that it was the name given to me by my birth mother. And when my parents ended up adopting me, they made the selection to nickname me Molly and changed my middle name from Renee to Marie. Now, my bio mom must have had high aspirations for me because she named me the Queen in 2 separate languages. Malika, as it turns out, is Arabic. For the longest time, I had no idea. I only heard a lot of, but you're white, when I told people my full name. But it is Arabic, and it means the queen. And then my given middle name was Renee. And again, when my parents adopted me, they decided that I would go by Molly, and they gave me the whitest white girl middle name that they could think of, which is, can you guess? Marie. How many ladies have the middle name Marie? Nobody else in the room? It's very popular in my generation. The second reason I decided to go by Malika today is to emphasize the importance of choice. Our personal choices of how we identify ourselves impact the way the world perceives us. If you had seen my name Malika, you might have had a different perception of what I was going to look like when I came out on this stage. But it is a name that I have always held on to and use in a professional sense, like when I do my writing and when I do stuff like this. You'll have to excuse me, I'm a little bit nervous. This is a first for me, getting up here and sharing all of this. Thank you so much. So yeah, my adoption story started in 1975. I was born October 15th in a small place near the Bay Area called Frontera. Now, you may not have heard of it because it's not really so much a town as it is a penal community for wayward women. So by the looks of what's on my birth certificate, I was probably born in jail. My mother, Carla, was very young and had made a series of kind of bad choices in her life, which led to some substance abuse issues. And chances are that she was also a prostitute. Though I never got to actually meet Carla, I kind of placed these pieces of my story together by people in my life who had memories of that whole situation, including my parents and also my foster parents and the people who were kind of surrounding the adoption. So I always kind of associated my birth as being a biological accident of 2 strangers. But the fact that I am the daughter of Bob and Betty Noreen was a choice, and a beautiful choice. Bob and Betty were a very happily married young couple. My dad, Bob, he was a young military officer. He had been stationed in Germany. And Mom, Betty, she graduated from Sac State with a teaching credential and decided to buy a one-way ticket to Germany. And they happened to meet on the hillside in Bavaria one day. Mom was blowing off another guy. Dad was driving the German countryside and happened to see Mom's American tags. And because of that, he ended up walking up the hillside and seeing this beautiful woman laying there reading the autobiography of Joan Baez, and it was love at first sight. They had a very short courtship and were married 3 months later in a backyard barbecue wedding at my grandparents' house, Mom's dad's house in Sacramento. So after that, my father got shipped off to Vietnam. So my mom, being very anxious about her husband's safety, decided that she would petition the McGeorge School of Law in order to get Dad off the battlefield and into the classroom and the courtroom. Dad did eventually graduate with his Juris Doctorate in the spring of 1975, and they settled in Sacramento. The plan was to start a family, but unfortunately, Betty had 2 ectopic pregnancies, which made it impossible for her to have children. And so they had to make the very conscious choice to start the adoption process, which is very lucky for me and also for my baby brother, because as it turns out, they got a 2-for-1 special. I had been placed in a wonderful foster family. And I'm going to just skip these notes, honestly, because I don't know where I'm at anymore. But I've been telling this story so many times, so I'll get it down. So yeah, Mom had the 2 ectopic pregnancies, couldn't have children of her own, and so they decided to go through the adoption process. And this is at the time that I had been taken into foster care from the hospital, not at birth, but soon afterwards. I was very colicky, and I was apparently like life-threateningly ill. And from there, social services placed me into foster care. And I was fostered for 2 years with a wonderful couple by the name of Henry and Catherine Fiji. Now, Grandma Fiji, as I called her, she was a collector of books. Their walk-up townhouse in San Francisco was absolutely floor-to-ceiling books. And I still have some of my earliest childhood memories triggered by the smell of books. And because of Grandma Fiji gifting me books all throughout my life, until she passed away in my late teens, I have developed my own wonderful library, and that smell still reminds me of home. That'll always be an association. Ask any of my friends, if I wander into a bookstore, they've lost me for at least 2 hours because that smell and that association is so precious to me. So Mom and Dad, they started the adoption process, and I met them, and if you look over here on the table, there's a little square container of the day that I got a mommy. And I'm wearing a little red jacket with a white poof on top. It's pretty cute. That was the day that I met my mom and dad and George the goose, who was a total jerk. Peck, peck, peck. I still don't like geese. So yeah, I was placed into their family just after I turned 2. And there's a Christmas picture of me where it's just me alone with Mom and Dad. And you'll find it kind of amazing that we look so much alike. You wouldn't think that I was adopted. Well, not too long after I had been placed in that family, we got a phone call. The woman who had been my social worker had overheard 2 of her colleagues discussing the fact that a baby boy needed to be emergency placed into a foster care, and she recognized the name of my biological mother, Carla. So she was like, wait, this is the same mother. I just placed her daughter into this beautiful family. So we got a phone call that went, how would you feel like having a nearly newborn to add to your family? That's how we got David. And David and I grew up together. You'll notice in the pictures that there's no mistaking that we are brother and sister. For many years, once he caught up to me in size, we were mistaken as twins. Then he shot up to like 6'7", so David's a big guy. Anyway, so we grew up very happily in the family of Bob and Betty Noreen, and instant huge family. Mom's part of an Italian family here in California, so I had a bucket load of cousins and aunts and uncles and grandparents and adventures, because Dad being in the military meant that we got stationed in Alaska. So we moved up there when I was about 4 years old, and lived there happily for many, many years before Mom and Dad retired, and they moved down to Colfax. Well, not too long after that, Dad unfortunately got cancer, so I made the choice to move down and be close to Mom and Dad. Now, the last little bit of this story, because it doesn't end there, not only were we blessed with a beautiful adoptive family, but as it turns out, we have an older sister. Aila is her name. And Aila she's my Irish twin. She is only 11 months older than I am. Same mom, different dad. And this might explain why I have a name that is associated with a more black culture, Malika. her father is African American. And so she was adopted into a different family. She grew up knowing about me, but not about David. And we get a phone call one day from Catherine Fiji, my foster mother, saying, you guys need to sit down. This is to my parents. Molly and David have an older sister. And she's not looking for a kidney or money or anything like that. She just wants to meet her siblings. Aila, this is this is before the advent of even AOL. This is like our late teens. So Aila, growing up knowing about me, when she got old enough, when she hit about 18, she started going through all the San Francisco directory looking for Fiji as the last name, because she had gotten the name Henry Fiji from a social worker who kind of slid it across the table. Probably shouldn't have, because it was a closed adoption. But anyway, she got the name of my foster father and started calling, like cold calling families, and got a hold of Catherine, because Henry had already passed away. And Catherine says, you need to come over. So Aila went to her house, and Catherine told her that out of something like 200 kids that had been fostered in their family, ours was the only adoptive family to have kept in touch over the years. So had she been looking for any other kid, that would have been the end of the search. But instead, we got the phone call, right? Mom and Dad get home from work, and I get home from college, and they are just so excited they're jumping out of their skin. And I'm like, what is going on? And they're like, we have something to tell you and David. And I'm like, David? David's a 17-year-old guy. Who knows when he's going to be home? What's going on? And I thought for sure that they had decided to adopt another baby because of something that had recently happened in our family. My father, being a lawyer, had handled another adoption for a child that ended up being a cousin of mine. But his first thought was, hey, we should adopt this kid ourselves. We all kind of went like, what the hell are you thinking, Dad? We're like late teens. You're going to start over? But so that didn't happen. Like I said, she became a cousin. But I thought, okay, maybe they just couldn't resist this one, and I'm going to be a 19-year-old sister to a baby. And they're like, no, we're not going to tell you till David gets home. So he finally gets home, and we're sitting around family dinner because we're kind of the cleavers. And Mom and Dad are just grinning at each other. And Dad asked me, he goes, what have you always wanted all your life? And I'm 19, right? So I'm like, my own car and financial independence? And they're like, my mom, and I remember, I can put myself back there in my memory, this memory. She grabs my hand just as I'm lifting a fork to my mouth, and she goes, Molly, you have a sister. And I think I dropped the fork, or I set it back down without taking the bite. And I look across the table at my brother David, and we just lock eyes like, is this real? You know? And it was very much real. So we got in touch with Aila. I started corresponding with her, first handwritten letters. There's a picture of her as a teenager with her girlfriend at the time, and it turns out that she's also a lesbian. We kept in touch first by letters, then by emails and texting, and finally, just before I turned 40, which is, believe it or not, almost 10 years ago, I flew down from Alaska for Thanksgiving with the family over in Colfax and took the train down to the Bay Area and met my sister. And it was so beautiful. It was like something out of a after-school special where we ran to each other at the pier side and embraced and cried. And we, of course, have gotten to know each other a little bit better over the years. And this story has kind of got a to-be-continued element to it, because now with the advent of stuff like Ancestry.com, I had a girlfriend a few years ago that gave me a kit, and through that, I have discovered that I have an aunt that lives up in Oregon, my mother's sister. Carla has long since passed away. Sadly, her drug abuse led to meningitis, which led to her not having a long lifetime, which is very sad. But if I had had a chance to meet my bio mom, I would have just thanked her, because she made some choices that were really, really tough and deeply, deeply personal. And she decided to give not just myself, but all three of us a chance at life. And because of that, we've had a beautiful life, and we have found our family. And our family is growing. And I dream of one day grabbing Aila, and taking a road trip up to Oregon and meeting our aunt and all our cousins and the extended family. So that's more or less it, guys. That's I call it kind of my Oprah story because it has such miraculous twists and turns and beautiful ways that our choices brought our family together. And I have never felt more blessed than I did to have parents that loved each other and were committed to each other for almost 51 years before Dad passed away 4 years ago. And I am now, I live here now to be close to my mom and to continue this story. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening. And I really feel very, very honored to have shared this stage with some people with much more polished storytelling skills than mine. And, you know, yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. And now we have a little more music with JB Barton. And then after that, our open mic will begin, which is, we've had a sign-up sheet, so we've got 2 performers on the open mic after this. Thank you, everybody.
I think that's my cue, right? I just want to say, well, first, I want to give a shout out to Rena for putting me on this show and just how I really appreciate how vulnerable this setting is. I most of the time I have a guitar in front of me, so this is like my cigarette for casual conversations in front of the bar. This is like my guitar. Yeah. Big picture, yes. A group photo. Yeah, and I just want to shout out to everybody who had, you know, a performance today and how beautiful it is and how inspired I am by all of you sharing your stories and your art and your work with all of this crowd. That's why I was excited to do this show, because I knew that it would be a creative community that we'd be building here today. And that's what it's all about. And really, humanity is, I'm just going to get a little, I'm going to preach for just 1 second that humanity is all that we have. Humanity is everything. We are all part of this one thing called humanity, and without it, we don't exist. So let's just embrace one another and create space for one another in this world. There's lots of room. I read a statistic. We could all live in Texas in like high rises, and there's enough resources available in that space for us all to exist. So if we can just let's go for something, you know, along those lines. You know, let's stop infighting and this tribal war. Let's get rid of it. And this song that leads into this song. This song is it goes like this. I'm a Libra, so I'm Libra. No, I'm just joking. This is a song I wrote just a little bit ago, actually, too. This is a relatively new song. It's called Everything is Country Music. It goes like this. Some folks don't like to hear the F-bomb, so I try not to put it in my song. Some will try to tell me that I'm wrong. They ain't been around for very long. I'm in the sunshine, drying on a towel in the sand at the beach with my friends, making plans, stacking bands. Only fans, Steely Dan's on the Bluetooth speaker. Can't buy a thrill, chasing down the paper, trying to pay another bill. AK-47 styles that kill, just another California boy to give you a thrill. Some people try to judge me 'cause I wear a hat. saying country music singers always singing flat, but I do not agree with that. No, I do not agree with that. No, I do not agree with that. Just another jazz cat. Listen to me as I scat. Everything is country music. You heard what I said. George Jones, Merle Haggard, and Tennessee Jet. Everything is country music. You heard what I said. Waylon Jennings, Hank Williams, and the Grateful Dead. Well, I have never heard a song from space in your face. It all comes from a place, and we all can agree that place is called a country. I know. Defend my chorus like it was a thesis. Moving hearts and minds, telepathy, telekinesis. I'm held down with black Jesus, and I hope it pleases the Lord. Yeah, I hope it pleases the Lord. Just another jazz cat. Listen to me as I scat. Everything is country music. You heard what I said. Lefty Towns, Johnny Cash and the Talking Heads. Everything is country music. You heard what I said. Ray Charles and Beyonce, you're right, said Fred. I'm too sexy for this song, and you know it's true. Everybody do the mess around and bugaboo. This ain't Texas, this is Georgia, the whole day through. All the single ladies, what would I do without you? Everything is country music. Everything is country music. Everything is country music. Everything is country music. Thank you. This is a song I wrote about my grandmother. Well, it was inspired by my grandmother, Amy S. Barton, MD. She was a medical doctor, one of 3 women to graduate from her medical school class in the 30s. And she left an abusive relationship, which wasn't really popular at the time, and moved to Carrizozo, New Mexico, this little desert town just north of the Mescalero Reservation, where she spent a lot of her, she was a small town doctor, and she did a lot of work with the Navajo out of the Mescalero Reservation just south of her, and collected a bunch of really beautiful jewelry. And I was looking at this ring that I inherited from her and was inspired to write this outlaw song, because she was an outlaw. She was an outlaw herself. She's a cigarette smoking, whiskey drinking, bad taste in men having lady for her whole life. And this goes out to her memory. Mustangs running wild, and the windmill pumps the well. Bleached old bones now, turkey vultures circling the heavens into hell. Barefoot boyhood north of Biloxi, Choctaw Kabafa River stream. Betsy and man, drunk on moonshine, stumbled into this young man's outlaw dream. Caught him sleeping, engine running, stole his pistol and his car, headed westward with no purpose, only stopped to grab his old guitar. Carrizozo, Mescalero, Silver silversmith in Adobe, resting quiet in the shadow of the pinyon tree. Barely made it out of New Orleans. Working girls there, always winking, busking spare change, Dumaine and Royale, full tank headed west, tequila drinking. In Natchitoches, he filled the tank up of his LTD Crown Victoria, robbed the teller of $60, adrenaline and euphoria. In Martin, Texas, at an RV park, he met an old man who played accordion, singing old tunes, drinking whiskey. They sang that night until the morning sun. Carrizozo, Mescalero, silversmith in Adobe, resting quiet in the shadow of the pinyon tree. A jewelry maker and his family on a ranch just north of town, making concho for the state fair. One more piece and then he can settle down. Engine roaring, dust blowing on the dirt road across the way. Went to greet him, pistol flashing, the jeweler's wife shot an outlaw down that day. Carrizozo, Mescalero, silversmith in Adobe, resting quiet in the shadow of the pinyon tree. Carrizozo, Mescalero, silversmith in Adobe, resting quiet in the shadow of the pinyon tree. Thank you. I think I got time for one more. Is there one more? Time for one more? All right, this last song, it's been a pleasure, by the way. Shout out to the Green Room Social Club for having us. And this last song is, I'm still deciding what I want to play. All right, I'll do a song. I'm going to do a rock and roll song about driving motorcycles. It goes like this. Yeah, I'm a motorcycle man. on my head. I drive my motorcycle fast as a train. And if I get into an accident, yeah, I know that my helmet will protect my brain. I'm a motorcycle man. I'm a motorcycle man. I'm a motorcycle man. Here I am, I'm a motorcycle. Gotta lean to the left and lean to the right. Motorcycle, driving all through the night. And when it gets dark out, you got to turn on your light. All right, yeah, yeah. I'll drive my motorcycle up and down the state. Yeah, I'm an outlaw. I don't need a license plate. Oh no, there's traffic up ahead. I ain't no quitter, I become a lane splitter instead. I'm driving past all the cars and the trucks and the vans. Here I am, I'm a motorcycle. Gotta lean to the left and lean to the right. Motorcycle, driving on through the night. When it gets dark out, you got to turn on your light. All right, yeah, yeah. I'm a motorcycle man. I'm a motorcycle man. You could say motorcycle man with me if you want. Or you could say motorcycle woman too. Or you could say motorcycle boy. Or you could say motorcycle they. Or you could say, if you're really awesome, you say motorcycle dinosaur. Yeah. I'm a motorcycle man. Yeah, I'm a motorcycle them. I'm a motorcycle dinosaur. Yeah, I'm a motorcycle dinosaur. I'm a motorcycle man. I'm a motorcycle man. I'm a motorcycle man. I'm a motorcycle Yeah, I'm a motorcycle man. Thank y'all so much. I'm JB Barton. You can find me online at outlaw_AF. The AF stands for always friendly. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I have a poem to read, just one. It is related to motorcycles, so I thought I'd do it for fun. Ow. Ow. It's about a motorcycle accident, but it's still worth it. Motorcycles are still fun. It's in a section of my book that's called Country Kids. Let me just grab it. Motorcycle accident. My neck tore by barbed wire when I was 8. Motorcycle promenade. Tough skins, braids afraid. Hopscotch heart. Hold on tight, rubber grips, squish, roll back. Shoulders, neck, flesh, full throttle open. All the neighbor kids watching. Action, pump house. Cows, Gravensteins, Huckleberry Red, ice capades. My sisters smack gravel, slap hands, prayed. Angels opened lawn chairs to stretch their legs. Sisters' voice curling, bark peeling, outer space reeling us, mud happy bottom fish in lily pad shade. Hooked, rushed, bright light, judgment day. Angels chew egg salad, Wonder Bread, pass pink lemonade. It'll be an easy day. Rascals in poker face. I gave my heart away, was not a fair trade. They knew it'd be a gravy day. Born with built-in providence, but I could only see as far as the barbed wire fence. My big brother liked to tell it with hands on both hips. If it would have hit different, he would have reached in and pinched it, tied a knot in the jugular, and saved my life. But no point pricked the main line, track switch, and I lived just fine. And the angels knew the whole story before I got the rhyme. Of course, if a big brother would have tied a jugular vein in a knot, that would have definitely got me if the accident didn't. So now we're moving into our open mic, and we have 2 people on the mic signed up, which is Matt Benjamin and Bill Dans. So Matt, come on up.
All right, I'm glad Bill's here and I'm not the only one. This is called Roz's Hands. It's the first time in 9 years that I've visited my dad's house in Mount Laurel. He and I walk up the garage steps and into the kitchen where Barbara and Mandy are sitting at the kitchen table, deep in conversation about Alicia's ex, Jeff, the shameless cheat whose new wife wore custom chucks with Mrs. Drozen printed on the canvas to my nephew's birthday party 3 weeks after the divorce. The tyrant father who refuses to let his own sons wear socks to bed. I get sucked into the conversation and don't think of the last time I arrived for a visit, when Roz, 90 years old, had been sitting there at the table alone and waiting for her driver. It's 11 before Barbara and my dad retreat upstairs, and Mandy mentions Roz's box of family relics sitting in the basement. Mention of Roz's box of family relics sitting in the basement brings up the image of her 4'9" frame sitting doll-like in the chair, her age the only thing restricting the maelstrom of nasal compliments, complaints, and insults that drew us all into her orbit during my only visit to her Fort Lee condo overlooking the Hudson that late August weekend in 2001. Mandy excuses herself and returns from the basement with a stack of photos and papers in a plastic freezer bag. Even at 30, she didn't know how many siblings Roz had till Roz died, and she and Barbara found the secret box in a closet in the condo. Images, letters, documents, Roz's life before Barbara's dad, Lou, hidden from the children. A 1930s black and white of 2 brothers, 3 sisters, spouses, and children, about a dozen in all, who stayed in the old country when Roz and her youngest sister immigrated to New York. A ketubah from one of the sisters' weddings, family rumors about why Roz would never talk to her youngest sister again. Sven von Svelf Teute in der Kerben. Only the brothers, strong enough to survive, but not strong enough to reunite. The horror of looking at each other in the face again too great without their loved ones. My dad returns to the kitchen in his pajamas and shifts the conversation from the contents of the freezer bag to the whereabouts of Roz's immortal soul. After her death, Barbara's medium relayed one last complaint: stuck with people I don't care for. Something Roz said much in life, but especially in reference to her youngest sister. Despite her irritation, it's good Roz is reunited with her sister, my dad says. 2 days later, Barbara, my dad, and I arrived back in the kitchen after Rachel's wedding in Philadelphia. I now understand why Mandy insisted on taking her own car, stuck in the back seat of the Camry for an hour, while my dad yells at Barbara over some small irritation, his voice frantic. "Shut the fuck up, Barbara, just shut the fuck up." Mandy is finally free of the fight she couldn't escape that summer in 2001 when Barbara trapped my dad in the corner of the kitchen one night. Dish after dish shattering against the floor and cabinets, both of us silent and terrified in our rooms. I go to the countertop to retrieve my water cup. I grab the cup. It won't lift off the counter. I release my hand and then grip the cup tightly, prepared to pry it off the tiles. That's not necessary. It lifts up easily. I check the cup and countertop for what held it down. Nothing. The next morning, my dad is doing some dishes before he takes me to the airport. The sepia lid of Barbara's crock pot slips from his hand and shatters. Amber shards spray across the kitchen floor in the morning light. My dad offers to buy a new one, but Barbara says, "That's okay." An irreplaceable wedding gift from 35 years ago. As we clean up the mess, I turn to my dad, half joking. "It looked like someone grabbed that lid and threw it to the floor." He agrees. "That's exactly what it felt like to me." I don't know whether to believe him, but I do know that if Roz is with people she doesn't care for, it's not her youngest sister.
Thank you. Bill, Dance, come on up.
Get comfortable. Let's see here. Well, sometimes I see, think, or read something that just gets my mind a meandering and stuff, and I sometimes start to write it down, and this is one of the results of those, called Master of Your Universe. So David Hume, 18th century Scottish philosopher, said, "But the universe cares no more for the life of a man than that of an oyster." Okay, Debbie Downer, let's accept that premise. The universe, or God, gods, spirits, powers that be, whatever, just really doesn't care. No empathy, no compassion, probably takes no notice of you at all, like some of our exes. In its defense, the universe is a really big place, an ever-expanding universe stretching out in all directions to infinity and beyond. Add the dimension of time, the uncountable eons past, and the unfathomable forever future. A life's existence is no more than that first drop of rain on a hot summer sidewalk, lasting but an instant before transforming into something else. Can you blame the universe if it has infinite ADHD? Can any mind comprehend the breadth and burdens of omniscience, omnipresence, and omnipotence? Paying attention to the color of socks you choose in the morning, the bugs squashed on your windshield along the freeway, the birth of stars in the Horsehead Nebula, the Galactic Quidditch Championship in the Andromeda Galaxy. If our best current knowledge of the universe survives and continues to evolve for the next 1,000 years, will those top whiz kids, scientists, techies, mystics, spiritual leaders in the future look back on our total opus of knowledge today and think to themselves, they were so cute in their naivete? And one life is the tiniest nanospeck in the cosmos could make one feel pretty inconsequential. If the universe doesn't care for any life, my life, why should I or anybody else? That's exactly why you should care. Forget cosmic time, this is your time. It's a test. Start by caring about yourself. If the universe doesn't care, F the universe, and F all the effing oysters too. I'll care about me. And in caring for yourself should mean caring for that ever so slightly larger mote of the cosmos upon and within which you exist, for that tiny blink of time granted to you, because it makes you feel good and adds value no matter how small. In caring for yourself in your space, you may be inclined to plant a garden, make music, create art, cook a meal, do productive work, meet a responsibility, learn and experience something new, follow a dream, care for someone else, lend a helping hand, love someone, you do something. Living is action, not a state of being. Describe and live your life in action verbs. Share the value you create while caring about yourself and your microspeck of the cosmos with those who share it with you. You do it because you choose to care about this piece of your universe. The universe doesn't care, right? What if it does notice? What is it going to do? Get upset? Send you a cease and desist order? There's a school of thought that views everything as all part of the universe. We are all one with the universe, ergo, the universe is one with us. We are the universe. So if we choose to care, then the effing universe cares. At which point, I believe the universe will take notice, and with a slight nod and smile it thinks, at least some of them get it. Be the master of your universe. Ta-da.
Thank you, everyone. Well, that wraps it up for the last show. That's right, Allison. I'm looking at you to see if there's anything that lasts a little bit. Okay. Yeah. So thank you, everybody, for coming up and coming up on stage, coming out to the event, and for everybody who participated in this Storytelling Sundays, lit after lunch, for multiple months that it ran too. I know if Rena was here, she would be, well, I've seen on text that she's actually been watching, so she's grateful to everybody who's helped make this. And it's really unique kind of what Rena and May have done with this or did with it, because it's kind of like, it's not poetry only, it's always been like a mix of like music and song. And the show I was a part of a whole year ago, there was like a live art painting, like there was an artist on stage painting in response to what she heard, and that was really cool, and just like a mix of stuff. So she always has managed to bring it together in cool and unique and one-of-a-kind ways. So hopefully she'll carry it forward in another kind of spot or way or future. But thank you to everybody who came up. And then we were wondering if we could do a picture. Maybe, definitely I know we want to do a picture of like all the performers, if they could come up on stage. And then if everybody, the audience too. To me, the audience is so important. If you don't have an audience, you don't have any, you may as well just be at home in the closet, right? Without our people. Yeah, so the audience matters. But come on up, everybody, and we'll take some pictures.